Guanxi for Professionals, Unit 5, Banquets and Baseline Behaviors. The takeaway. Banquets are an important tool for vetting counterparties in China. They are checking you out, and you should be doing the same. They have the home court advantage. How are they using it? Are they being gracious and doing their best to make you comfortable? Or are they being aggressive and taking advantage of your lack of familiarity with Chinese customs? Banquets are a great time to figure out who is really running the show on their end. In general, you never want to be the center of attention at a Chinese banquet. Okay, let's talk about each of these in a little bit more detail. Honored guest or fraternity pledge at a hazing. Which one are you? Banquets are a great place to take the temperature of your Chinese counterparty and see what their baseline behavior is, see how they behave when there's no money on the table yet. You can tell a lot about their business tactics by the way they run the banquet. The first indicator is the menu. Do they load up the table with what they consider to be local delicacies, things like sea cucumber, thousand-year-old eggs, dancing shrimp, and other menu items that they know give Westerners trouble? Or do they show a little bit more sophistication and select a restaurant that serves, solid traditional local Chinese food, but they go easy on the booze and they take you into account when they select the menu items? Who's the boss? Use banquets as an opportunity to figure out who's really running their company, who's really in charge of their power structure. Many Chinese negotiating teams still try to obscure or hide who the real decision maker is. They feel this gives them a competitive advantage. But at banquets, there are certain indicators that you can use to get a glimpse into their real power structure. When you walk into a Chinese banquet room, it's going to be a small private room in a hotel or in a restaurant. And there's going to be a single large circular table. Their boss, the Chinese side boss who is acting as host, is probably going to sit as far from the door as possible. He might be sitting directly opposite the door. And everyone else is running around taking care of the details. And you can tell who is really in charge because he is the one that's not dealing with the waiters. He's not dealing with cell phones trying to bring in stragglers. He is sitting quietly waiting for you, and his job is being the host. The ones fussing with last-minute arrangements are a little lower on the totem pole, and these may be the people you're dealing with. That's not a problem, but it gives you an idea of who is really running the show. Ganbei, everybody drink. Ganbei. Oof. It's good water. Ganbei translates as dry glass, not cheers. Ganbei is a call, an invitation, or sometimes a challenge to empty your glass. Everyone involved in the toast, or if you do it at the table, everyone at the table has to do the same thing. It's taken kind of seriously. Don't say it if you don't mean it. It doesn't mean cheers. It's not a casual thing. The person has to empty their glass, and if they have a full glass of beer, they're supposed to down that. So pay attention when you say it, and pay attention when they say it. You don't want to be caught sipping when everyone else is throwing back. Mao Tai and Baijiu. So what is filling these little glasses that you'll be ganbeiing with all night? The Chinese drink baijiu, and baijiu literally translates as white liquor. Sometimes they'll call it white wine, but it's not the white wine you're used to. This is more like grain alcohol, and the baijiu of choice is Mao Tai. Mao Tai is very expensive. It is a kind of baijiu. It comes from a specific town in Guizhou. It is very expensive. It is super strong, and it does not go down easy. To Westerners, it tastes like lighter fluid with a stronger aftertaste. But the Chinese are very attached to it. They're very proud of it. It means a lot to them. Has the same place in Chinese culture as Maker's Mark or Johnny Walker would have in America, especially in the South. So no matter how much damage it's doing to your insides, don't disparage it or insult it. Don't say, how can you drink this horrible stuff? Because they're paying a fortune for it and they really like it. All of China is a designated smoking area. Non-smokers be warned, you will be offered cigarettes. Turning down a cigarette is a bit of an insult, so you got to handle it well. The general rule when it comes to smoking or drinking or eating is fake it as best you can, but just don't be the center of attention. If you hold up your hand and say, no, I will not drink, I will not smoke, it's going to throw the spotlight on you. And if you're lucky, it will just make you the object of jokes and a lot of attention in the short term. In the long term, it could make you look like you're not the kind of guy they want to do business with. So when it comes to banqueting, the general rule is the less attention you're attracting to yourself, the better. And this brings us to the final round of the evening, the karaoke club, or as we say in China, the KTV. If things go even passably well during the dinner phase of the banquet, you will probably end up the evening at a KTV. A KTV is a nightclub. It is unbelievably lavish. It is just over the top. Be aware, some Chinese take their singing very, very seriously. You're expected to listen for about 5 seconds and then go on with what you're doing, but you may hear some really first-rate performances. If you don't, still be very complimentary. You will be expected to sing. It doesn't matter how bad your voice is. You are expected to participate, and the same rule applies. Don't make yourself the center of attention by trying to refuse. In conclusion, the banquets and the KTV nights are work. You're on the job. Don't treat these things as awkward little affairs that you have to overcome before you can really start the business. This is the business and the negotiation has started. They are checking you out, so conduct yourself accordingly, and you should be taking this opportunity to check them out. You're getting a snapshot of their true personality, so don't ignore your observations. The reason I call this banquets and baseline is because you are now getting a picture of what their behavior and what their attitude and their conduct is like when there's not money on the table yet. So use this to establish your baseline and make judgments about them as to how they will be as a partner. Thank you. This has been Unit 5, Banquets and Baseline Behaviors.